I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Doug Vierthaler, General Manager of Cleveland Ford. And together,
we are Cleveland Ford.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of the relationship that I've developed with my care team.
They take me directly back and start evaluating my needs.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of its flexibility, and so should you.
DPCA. Practice made perfect.
Lifetime Certified is the new buzz in town for Vehicles Direct. 12-month, 12,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Lifetime powertrain warranty. Complimentary maintenance for 1 year. Certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Love it or leave it, satisfaction guaranteed. Best trade-in value in town. Kelly Blue Book Buy Center. Vehicles Direct, South Lee Highway in Cleveland at APD 40. Visit vehiclesdirect.com.
Did you know 4 out of every 10 pills contain a potential lethal dose of fentanyl? 2 salt-sized grains of fentanyl can kill. Talk to your kids today about the risks of fentanyl. ATS The Bridge, speaking out against drugs, speaking up with a message of hope. Visit atsthebridge.org today.
I told my son to find me the nicest place to live in Cleveland. He said, Dad, there's only one place, and that's Garden Plaza. And I moved into the patio home. Everybody knows your name from day one. And there's something to do all day long if you want to participate in it. You cannot possibly be bored at Garden Plaza. It is just great. And their food is outstanding. It's out of this world. And I'm so happy I'm here. Garden Plaza is it for me.
This summer, prime rib is the star. Bite into the new Primal Angus Thick Burger at Hardee's. See Jurassic World Dominion now in theaters.
Thank you for calling Logan Thompson. This is Ashley.
You get a yearly checkup. Shouldn't your air? With your local Lennox dealer, regular care equals perfect air. With technology you can touch, comfortable air you can feel, and savings you can see. Not just perfect air, perfect for you air.
Call Dale's Heating and Air to upgrade your air today.
Lennox, air is life. Make it perfect.
Hey, I'm Eric Gardner with Volunteer Rid-A-Pest with a helpful tip about termites. If you want to protect your home from termites, there's a few things you can do. Number one, if you have firewood, keep it at least 10 feet away from your home. Don't use wood mulch or bark around your home because this is termite food. And so if you put it around your home, you could attract termites. Make sure you use gravel or some kind of artificial mulch because you don't want to attract termites. Also, you can inspect your home yourself. You can just get some knee pads, a bright flashlight, and go look for anything that looks unusual on your joist. If you see something that looks unusual, call a professional. If you don't have one, give us a call at 698-7205.
Mix 1041 and Honda of Cleveland are giving away a Honda Civic LX to an active law enforcement officer in our area. If you know someone that you think deserves to win, you can nominate them at mymix1041.com/Honda or on the Mix 1041 app.
Being around people is my joy and my passion. So when they come in here, I do feel free to carry the integrity that Mermaid has. No matter what your job description is here, somehow or another you're impacting somebody's life.
Bender Realty is helping to keep the community thriving during this pandemic by offering no-contact online tools for buyers and sellers in the real estate market.
Especially in this day and time with COVID, it makes a lot of the buyers are not wanting to get out and walk into someone else's home, and even sellers may not want people in their home. We can actually do a virtual tour with our phones and send it to our clients.
Walk through a property without having to actually be there and see all the intricacies of the property and the things that they may or may not want.
If you're looking to buy, sell, lease, or rent, trust your friends at Bender Realty. 472-2173. Bender-Realty.com. Be home with Bender Realty.
Cleveland Tire is ready to help your auto any way it can. We're one of the largest providers of Bridgestone and Firestone tire dealers in the area. We sell all major brand tires. We have ASE certified mechanics on staff 6 days a week. We also have a commercial truck tire center that provides 24-hour roadside service and minor mechanical repairs on site. We have built our reputation on years of quality, affordable work and tires. We pride ourselves in customer satisfaction and great service. Cleveland Tire Center.
Big changes are happening. On July 31st, Ocoee OBGYN will be closing their doors after so many years of dedicated service to Cleveland and Bradley County. Dr. Ashcraft and Jeannie Lips will be going to Life Circle to further their careers and continue to meet the needs of their patients. Dr. Snowman and her whole staff would like to thank Cleveland and Bradley County.
Need a metal roof for your home or business? Come see us at Best Buy Metals, a leading manufacturer of metal roofing products. Looking for great service? Check. Want to choose from a wide variety of metal roofing products? Check. How about complimentary takeoffs and free estimates for commercial and residential projects? Check and check. From small orders to semi-loads, we've got you covered. Literally. Best Buy Metals. Quality roofing that lasts a lifetime. Come see us today.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Doug Vierthaler, General Manager of Cleveland Ford. And together,
we are Cleveland Ford.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Ryan, when you're ready to roll, let's go. I sincerely apologize for that. Then we'll once we go on air, then we'll get you in and out pretty quick. We're on right now. Oh, dear God. Welcome back to the Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour. The technical difficulties, boys and girls, have been exponentially increased over the last couple of minutes. We are very pleased, though. It's the balm of Gilead that will solve all wounds with time. The owner, the founder, the publisher of, like I said earlier, the Magna Carta of preseason college football magazines, Lindy Sports Magazine, Lindy Davis, Mr. Lindy Davis, the Esquire, the gentleman, joins us now to discuss his publication. Mr. Davis, thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for sticking with us. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on. No problem.
Well, look, I'm not, Mr. Davis. I don't normally bring people on here to lick their boots. I'm not here to try to, shine your shoes or anything like that. But I got to tell you, I've spoken to you once. A few years ago, we did this, and it's one of my favorite interviews. Thank you so much for your time. Your magazine really, really is the eminent and preeminent preseason magazine out there. I've told everybody to go get one. We will continue to beat that drum. This 2022 edition does not disappoint, by the way. So let's go ahead and get into it. One of the things that, before we get into your national picks, your top 10, and we go with topsoil, a couple of really good extra publishing pieces you got in here. The one about the dead money with the coaches, I thought was really, really interesting for you guys to go through and explicate and quantify that. All of these, basically, for those who have not read the magazine yet, it's a list of all these schools that have coaches that they're paying not to coach. Our board hop, Ryan Lovelace, who is an eminent runner and athlete in himself, he's rocking his LSU today. His LSU Tigers are on that list. Of course, the Auburn Tigers, I believe, are on that list. A lot of features like that in this magazine, boys and girls out there in listener land, that would be interesting for you. Having said that, Mr. Davis, let's go through your national picks. Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, A&M 5, Michigan 6, Utah 7, Notre Dame 8, Oklahoma State 9, and Oklahoma 10. Was there any, when you and your folks were putting that together, was there any internal dialogue or argument as to whether the teams that should be in the top 10 and where they should be. I think Alabama and Ohio State, Georgia might be chalk, but there are some in here, Clemson, Utah, all very good teams, Notre Dame at 8. Was there a consensus for those top 10 teams, or what was that conversation like behind the scenes?
Well, I'll be honest. Anthony Domino's been my college editor for 25 years, and I pretty much let Anthony do the picks. He's got an incredible network of writers, and I really do. He's tuned to really top writers and editors all over the country. So I let him do the picks. There's always discussion. Your top 6 or 7, you're probably going to have in some order. When you get down to 8, 9, and 10, sure, there's always discussion who should be in and who should be out. There's no doubt Alabama was number 1 this year. They'll be number 1 every poll that comes out. They're loaded. And Ohio State was a really pretty clear-cut number 2 this year. After that, you can certainly have some debate which order to put them in. We've got Clemson all the way back up number 4 after somewhat of a down year, but they've got a terrific defense, and we think they'll come back this year, and of course, playing in the ACC helps a little bit too.
We're talking, yeah, exactly. That's why you had the genius on here. We're talking to Lindy Davis, Mr. Lindy Davis, to you, by the way, the founder, owner, and publisher of Lindy Sports Magazine, the 2022 preview here on a special Aubrey Strong-Saw's SEC Football Hour in June. Let's talk about Clemson a little bit there. That was one that kind of piqued my interest. They did have a down year, but they've got a sick defensive line. But the question at quarterback, their quarterback seemed to struggle a little bit as in his first year. Y'all are expecting a bounce-back year this year.
Yeah, he's going to have to do better. He had a terrible year. Let's be honest about it. But people forget when he came out 2 years ago, it was he and Bryce Young, who's the best quarterback coming out of high school in the country. There was a debate about that.
That's right.
And he played very well in spot duty. He had that great game against Notre Dame. So coming into last year, everybody, he was more proven than Bryce Young. But obviously that flipped pretty quickly. He struggled. Let's be honest. He had a bad year. They're going to have to get better play, but they got another kid. If he doesn't come through, they got a freshman coming in. He'll not hesitate to make a move and change quarterbacks. He's done it before. So, Dabo, he did it a few years ago, and that's how we got Trevor Lawrence as a true freshman. So I think one of those two guys will step up. Their defense is nasty. There's no question about that. It's interesting, though. Really, Davo's first year, he hadn't had his coordinators. So he's got 2 new coordinators, and that'll be a change for him. He elevated his staff, and we'll see how that plays out. But that is something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely, Mr. Davis. We're talking to Lindy Davis, founder, publisher of the Magna Carta of college football preview magazines, Lindy Sports Magazine. Okay, we are, of course, a part of the official Vol Network coverage of these beloved Tennessee Vols out there in Vol Nation. So let's get to that a little bit. You've got Tennessee at 26, right outside, just outside of the top 25 going into the season. As you might imagine, the expectations are rising. It's not hard to get Tennessee Vol Nation excited about football. Every year there seems to be an optimism. Sometimes that lasts until October. Sometimes that lasts until November. But they're always optimistic. This year, though, there seems to be certainly a valid reason. Y'all got them just outside the top 25 very easily. You could see a scenario where they could finish inside the 15 even by the end of the year. What's your take on those Tennessee Vols and where they are in your top 25, top 30?
Sure. Well, Heupel has a great track record. He knows how to score points. Let me state the obvious. He did it at Central Florida. His first year at Tennessee, he averages 40 points a game. Developed Hooker to an outstanding quarterback, dual threat, could really throw it and run it. They're going to score points. We know that. I look at Tennessee kind of like Ole Miss 2 years ago. We know they're going to score a lot of points. Can they stop anybody? 2 years ago, Ole Miss couldn't. Tennessee's defense was better than Ole Miss's 2 years ago, but still, it wasn't very good. Ole Miss made a big jump last year defensively, or a good jump. They were respectable. They weren't a great defense, but they were respectable combined with their offense, and they won a lot of games. So I think the question is, can Tennessee's defense take the next step? They don't have to be great, but they got to be better than 99th. They finished 99th in the country last year, I believe, in total defense. That's not going to get it done. If they can move that up into the top 50, and score like you did last year, then absolutely they're going to be a very tough out. They were tough out last year. I give Heupel great credit with all the transfers they had out. He did a remarkable job his first year. Can he keep the momentum going? There's no, the SEC is what it is. It's brutal, but I like Tennessee's schedule starting out. They got a good chance to get out of the gate pretty good. They should beat Pittsburgh, I think, and Akron, Ball State. So Florida's down a little bit. Get them at home. So I like the way they come out of the gate strong. I think it could be a big year for the Vols.
That's why you make the big money, Mr. Davis. That's why you make the big money. Now you're over here. I don't know if you can't see the TV, but you got the Vols fans over here out in with a cold flop sweat over here talking about going 4-0 and beating Pittsburgh and Florida. So when you look at that schedule, this is part of the conversation we were having earlier on in the show, and we're going to expound on this a little bit later. We were basically going to use you as the platform to jump off of, you and your beautiful publication. When you look to that point, Mr. Davis, when you look at that Tennessee schedule, in my mind, and Tennessee fans are going to call me a homer and a hater, but they can call me whatever they want to. In my mind, Tennessee's going to lose to Alabama and Georgia. That's chalk. But if you look at that schedule, Pittsburgh, Florida, LSU, and Kentucky, maybe Carolina, but I'm still not buying their defense. But for me, Pitt, Kentucky, LSU, and Florida are going to be the 4 games they're going to decide their season. If they go 3-1 in those games, they have a very real chance of going 9-3, and that is a jump coming from where they were 2 years ago at 5-7. And the chaos that came after the post-Pruitt era and the coaching search and all that stuff. When you look at that schedule, if you can identify the fulcrum games, the hinge games, so to speak, which 4 or 5 would you look at?
Oh, I agree with you. I think the 3 would be Florida, LSU, and Kentucky. Yeah, those would probably determine the season. You're probably right. They're probably going to lose to Alabama, probably going to lose to Georgia. But, anything can happen. They gave Alabama a really good game in Tuscaloosa last year for 3 quarters. And so anything can happen. Georgia lost 15 draft picks. They're not going to be the team they were last year, but they're going to be really good. You got to go to Athens, so that doesn't help. So, in all likelihood, they're going to lose those 2 games. And so the 3 I mentioned, you mentioned them both, Florida, LSU, I think, and Kentucky would be the swing games. Tennessee should beat South Carolina, in my opinion. I don't think South Carolina has the talent base. I really don't. I mean, you saw they won a couple of close games, and the narrative is they're back or they made a lot of progress. Well, they got beat by 35-0 by Clemson at home. So I don't think they're quite back yet.
Yes, well, they may be back, but that's back for Carolina. They get beat by 55.
Can you be back if you've never been there?
Well, South Carolina's a very interesting case, and they don't have a lot of tradition. Let's be honest, but they've had 2 Hall of Fame coaches.
Yes,
and I mean, which is amazing in itself. But they may need another Hall of Fame coach to get back to those levels.
Now, we're talking to Lindy Davis, founder and publisher of Lindy Sports Magazine, the Magna Carta of all preseason college football magazines. Let's stick there for a second. Now, and I'm kind of moving all over the place because, again, it is just like the Magna Carta. There's a lot to pour through when you go through this. You can spend your entire summer. For me, I kind of feel like I should be smelling like some suntan oil because I usually take this to the beach, usually, and it's my beach reading when I'm. But here's the thing: you mentioned South Carolina and Spencer Rattler. Y'all have got him in your impact transfer list. You've got Spencer Rattler at number 2. So you guys are pretty high on Spencer Rattler. What's your opinion on him? Because that really is good. They've got a lot of deficiencies in Carolina, over there in Columbia, South Carolina. But a good quarterback, if he's as good as they said he was coming out of high school, can mask some of those deficiencies. Where are you on that?
Well, there's no question. He had that one big year, as you know. So, which Spencer Rattler is going to show up? That's the question. And I don't know. We'll see. But no, you're exactly right. You get a quarterback. He can make all the other players around him better. They believe in him. He's a leader. He could rally the whole team. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, he had one real good year. Then he slumped and he got benched. I expect him to have a bounce back year. I do, to be honest. I think he'll have a good year, and I expect South Carolina to be a dangerous team. I just don't think they have the overall talent base to contend. I think Tennessee's got overall more talented than they do. I really do.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees. Sticking with that theme, though, these Fulcrum games on the Tennessee 2022 schedule, you got LSU, in terms of your conference picks, you got LSU finishing 5th behind Alabama, A&M, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. In my mind, Mr. Davis, Tennessee having to go to LSU, I know a lot of Tennessee fans are optimistic about that game because Brian Kelly's in his first year. They had a down year last year. There were some culture issues. I'm not sure. I'm with Tennessee fans where I'm not sure that Brian Kelly is a long-term fit for that program. But he knows how to coach football, and that roster is not Carolina. That roster actually is loaded in some areas. But you are not that high on LSU coming out of the West. When you look at that Tennessee-LSU game, what's your June 2022 kind of take on that game before we even get into fall ball?
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a long way to go to that game. But right now, I would rate it, probably at LSU, probably a toss-up or something like that. LSU has got, as you said, they recruited well. They've still got talent. Kelly was able to bring in some pretty good players in the portal too. We know he can coach. However, on the other side of the coin, they got less starters back than anybody in the country. They only got like 5 starters back on the whole team, and a couple of those got benched in the spring. So, in my humble opinion, LSU may be the hardest team to handicap in the country. I mean, you got a new coach. You don't have a lot of starters back. You got a lot of people coming in the portal. A change of culture, as you said. There's just a lot of variables. But you look, why don't we have LSU down at 5? Well, look who's ahead of them. You got some pretty good teams ahead of them. LSU could surprise and be better than that. We'll see. They do have talent. Have an outstanding defensive line. They got one of the kids that were out last year is back. So that should be a great ball game. But if I were handicapping it right now, I would probably say it's probably going to be probably about a toss-up.
We're talking to Lindy Davis, owner, founder, publisher of the Magna Carta of all 2022 and college football preview magazines every year. Okay, last couple of questions and we'll let you go. And we so appreciate your time, Mr. Davis. Again, there is no love lost for the Florida Gators around this area. It is a known quantity that Florida has had Tennessee's GOAT, so to speak, over the last couple of years, maybe even you could say even the last couple of decades. I don't think you can have a conversation in Vol Nation about the Tennessee Vols unless you're talking about possibly beating the hated Florida Gators. Billy Napier, who I've met, I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few years ago. Nice guy. He comes from a family of coaches, and I grew up a Georgia fan. I hate Florida. I have no problem. I very rarely have Florida Gators on my show just because I can't stand talking to them. I mean, it's an old school SEC thing, right? Tennessee fans can yell at me, I can yell at them, but ultimately we're just those cousins that sometimes get along, sometimes don't. Florida Gators can go pound sand as far as I'm concerned. They're up there with Georgia Tech, but that's an aside. But Florida, Billy Napier he seems like a good dude, comes from a family of coaches, but I just don't know. Florida fans, even if he were to go 9-3, they're going to be showing up at his house. They're that kind of fan base. If there's a sense in which around here, and I'm just going to repeat some of the things I heard, not all the words because I can't say that with FCC problems. But if the consensus is, if not this year, when? This is the year where Florida looks like they have issues. They got some talent, but there's plug and play at some of these positions where they lost. I'm not solely convinced. Rob Sale and some of those other guys they've got on the offensive side of the ball that Napier brought with him, I'm not totally convinced in those guys. What's your take on these Florida Gators? You've got them finishing behind Tennessee, Kentucky, and Georgia in the East, so you clearly think Tennessee has the ability to beat them this year. What's your take on that game in June of 2022 before we even get into fall ball?
No, I agree with you. It should be Tennessee's time. First of all, they're due. Give me a break. They're due. But no, Florida's got a lot of holes in the roster. Their quarterback's a lot like Hooker. He's a tremendous talent, but he hadn't proven himself. I mean, they're talking about this guy can, he's like a sprinter and he weighs about 240 and can throw it. So yeah, he's a talent. He's a great talent. But is he a great quarterback? We don't know that. He's a great athlete.
Right.
So, but but they've got holes on their roster. There's no doubt they've got holes. They lost some to the portal too. They got one. They got one terrific lineman that came with Napier, offensive lineman, and we got All-American. Came from Louisiana with Napier, but they've got holes. And Tennessee, I would at this point I would make the Vols the favorite in that game. So it's their time. I think Tennessee's got a great chance in that football game.
Lindy Davis of Lindy Sports Magazine. Okay, last question. You got Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, Missouri, and Vanderbilt in the East in that order. In the SEC West, you got Alabama, A&M, Arkansas, Ole Miss, LSU, Mississippi State, and Auburn dead last. My boy Beef Tips, he's at Bonnaroo actually right now with his daughter. I wish he was here for this because seeing that, he might puke in his cup right here.
Let me tell you one thing about Auburn, though. Every time they're rated high, they disappoint their fans.
That's
Every time they're rated low, when they're rated low, they usually surprise.
They're going to go 11-1 since Lindy put them down bottom of the SEC West.
Well, they have a history. I was on a show yesterday. Auburn will have a pretty good first team if they have a quarterback. They just got no depth. They have no depth. Injuries will wipe them out if they have any injuries. But they can put a decent first team on the field if a quarterback comes through.
Right. All right, so Mr. Davis, last couple of questions, and I promise we'll let you go. We appreciate your time today on this beautiful Saturday that the Lord has made. All right, so you got before we get to the SEC championship game, which I thought was very interesting. Give us what if you had to predict a record right now for Tennessee this year. What's the number that I think everybody's looking at? For me, I've settled on 8-4. Could they go 9-3? Absolutely. Could they go 7-5? Absolutely. That's why I'm taking the sweet spot at 8-4. Just what your gut, and we don't. Again, these are all prevarications and projections because we haven't gone through fall ball. But what's your gut tell you about Tennessee Vols before we even get into fall ball? What's the number on that?
Well, no, 8-4. 8-4 would probably be a good number. I can see them go 9-3. I don't have any problem with that at all. I just depends on the defense. I mean, you're throwing darts until you see what the defense does. You know they're going to score points. So, how big a step can they make defensively? That's the key to the season. Assuming they keep their offense where it was. Now, they got 4 out of 5, I believe, linemen back. They got the Tillman and wide receiver. They got the quarterback. They've got the pieces to score 40 points again. Again, you're talking about asking me how to predict games. Probably 2 of the games will come down to where the field goal kicker makes the field goal or not. Such a fine line in college football between having a great season and having a bad season. That's just reality for just about everybody.
Except for that Alabama Crimson Tide, Mr. Davis. They don't.
Yeah, I will say this: Alabama on paper, this is their best team.
Yeah,
on paper
they look nasty, Mr. Davis. They look nasty.
On paper, they really do. So we'll see.
All right. So last question. To that point, you got the Alabama Crimson Tide and my beloved Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning 2021 national champion Georgia Bulldogs. One thing that I found interesting, I want to ask this question, and then you can tell us about the SEC championship. A couple of conspicuous things that I noticed in your beautiful, lovely publication, Lindy Davis, is that one, if you go through your player, and this is one of the reasons why I love this magazine, you go through and you rank the position groups all throughout the SEC, okay? In your magazine, you don't have, on the offensive side, with the exception of the tight ends, you don't have Georgia ranked very highly in any of these. The running backs are not there. The offensive line, I believe, was there. Quarterback's not there. There are a couple on the defensive side, maybe secondary. Yet you've got Georgia winning the East and then going and playing Alabama again in the SEC championship game. And then in your playoff prediction, you have both Alabama and Georgia making the playoff again. Expound on that a little bit and tell me what your thoughts are right there on the SEC championship and both teams making it in again. I'm not sure that the playoff committee. There's going to be a lot of politicking with that going on. With Ohio State being as good as they are, y'all think Utah's going to be very good. What's your thought there, where you get Georgia and Alabama both playing in the SEC championship game again and then making the playoff again?
Georgia's schedule sets up very well. You got to look at it though. They get past Oregon, which they should. They get past Oregon, they got a very good chance of going undefeated. I mean, they're going to be solid favorites. Barring injuries, I mean, things can change, but right now they're going to be solid favorite off of the season. Their schedule sets up very well. So, yeah, you could easily have Alabama and Georgia playing like they did last year, and the loser and both teams getting in. You just have to look around the country and what is out there. I mean, Georgia is still one of the top handful of teams in the country, even with what they lost. Ohio, that won't affect Ohio State. Ohio State's going to be in. Mm-hmm. So, but we'll see. But Georgia's schedule sets up well, assuming they get past Oregon. And Oregon's got a new coach. They got a lot of unknowns too. So I still like Georgia, especially the game in Atlanta. So we'll see. But no, it wouldn't. It happened last year. It wouldn't be a big upset for that to happen at all in my mind.
Lenny Davis. Mr. Lenny Davis, for all you knuckleheads out there in listener land. Mr. Davis, I want to say from the bottom line, this is as sincere as I can possibly be, being a mic head on a stupid college football radio show in June. I want to say, one, thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you for your publication. And again, I'm going to fanboy for a second, so everybody out there who's listening can chill with it. I don't care what you say when you see me out in the street. Say what you got to say. Meet me in the street, by God. Mr. Davis, you have, in my lifetime, I'm going to be very genuine with you real quick. I'm a child of a divorced family. I did not grow up easy. I cannot tell you how many times your magazine gave me hours and hours of reading pleasure, even when my dogs were going to go 5 and 6. Even when Ray Goff was the coach, and I knew we were going to lose more than we were going to win. It gave me hours and hours of reading pleasure. When things were tough, it gave me hours and hours of distraction and informed me. Your magazine is one of the reasons why I love college football so much. It is a pleasure for me personally to be able to talk to you and talk college football with you. We would love to have you. I know you're busy. We'd love to have you on next year for a preview show if God and time allow. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your publication. It's a wonderful publication, and thank you so much for your time.
Well, appreciate all the kind words, and I'm very blessed. I have a lot of great staff, that work for me. So we just great. Thanks for having me on, and I appreciate the kind words. Be glad to do it next year, too.
Mr. Lindy Davis of Lindy Sports Magazine, thank you, sir. We're going to go to break. Boys and girls, I'm going to tell you, go out and get this magazine. I'm going to assume, look, I know some of y'all knuckleheads out there, you come up here and you try to talk football, and it's because you've been on some message board, and you're regurgitating all the things that the message board idiots have been saying. I can tell you, by the way, I may not look at you in your face and tell you to your face, but that's what I'm thinking. If you want to do yourself a favor, go out and find this Lindy Sports Magazine. It's America's leading football authority, and I am not even joking when I'm talking about. Speaking of America's leading football authority, you're listening to the Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour, a special preseason 2022 edition, here with Big Country Sam Bowerman, Tennessee Homer Joe, that cuz Coach Robert Flowers, and of course I'm your self-proclaimed home host Michael Lawson, aka the Strong Sauce. We got to go do the thing, the pace of this thing. We'll be back in a couple of clicks.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of the relationship that I've developed with my care team.
They take me directly back and start evaluating my needs.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of its flexibility, and so should you.
DPCA. Practice made perfect.
I told my son to find me the nicest place to live in Cleveland. He said, Dad, there's only one place, and that's Garden Plaza. And I moved into the patio home. Everybody knows your name from day one. And there's something to do all day long if you want to participate in it. You cannot possibly be bored at Garden Plaza. It is just great. And their food is outstanding. It's out of this world. And I'm so happy I'm here. Garden Plaza is it for me.
We're here at Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland.
We are here with great service.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here with great deals.
We're here for you. So come get huge Nissan savings when you shop Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland and Cleveland-Nissan today. Home of the exclusive lifetime warranty.
Traffic is horrible. Great. Time for another one of these.
Bite into the new Primal Burrito or Biscuit with prime rib at Hardee's. See Jurassic World Dominion now in theaters.
What's your definition of fresh? At Food City, ours starts every morning as our certified butchers hand cut everything you see behind the counter fresh that day. Fresh also means our beef is ground in the store several times a day. Time-stamped with the hour it was ground. That's a fresh guarantee. The fact is, it just doesn't get any fresher than this. That's why we say, start fresh with Food City.
This is John Davis, the trade-in man for Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway, with great news. Interest rates are super low, and your old car is worth more than ever. So if you're wondering if you should be buying a new Kia, it's a no-brainer. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. If you've got $500 down and you make $2,000 a month, I'll do my best to get you approved. Come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where car buying is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Baskin-Robbins on Keith Street, locally owned by the Benton family in Cleveland for over 50 years. Within their 40 flavors of ice cream, they can build sundaes, make 40 different types of shakes, and add different ice creams to different products. You name it, they can make it for you. Enjoy Baskin-Robbins at home. Their take-home items include hand-packed quarts or pints, polar pizzas, and cakes. Baskin-Robbins, Keith Street, Cleveland. Peyton Southeastern is hiring. If you are looking for a stable, long-term career, they have an immediate opportunity for full-time employment with advancement opportunities available. Potential to earn over $20 an hour. Apply now at jobs.kroger.com to work at Peyton Southeastern in Cleveland. That's jobs.kroger.com.
At Ralph Buckner Funeral Home and Crematory, the tradition was founded by Ralph and Stella Buckner and continued by Ralph Buckner Jr. and his wife, Shari Buckner. Ralph Buckner Funeral Home and Crematory is a tradition of service. Ralph Buckner Funeral Home and Crematory, caring for Cleveland families whenever they need them. Visit ralphbuckner.com.
Lifetime Certified is the new buzz in town for Vehicles Direct. 12-month, 12,000-mile comprehensive warranty, lifetime powertrain warranty, complimentary maintenance for 1 year. Certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Love it or leave it, satisfaction guaranteed. Best trade-in value in town. Kelly Blue Book Buy Center. Vehicles Direct, South Lee Highway in Cleveland at APD 40. Visit vehiclesdirect.com.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of the relationship that I've developed with my care team.
They take me directly back and start evaluating my needs.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of its flexibility, and so should you.
DPCA. Practice made perfect.
At Mermaid Mattress, we try to buy from as many local vendors as we can. Our foam company that we buy from is here in Cleveland. Our spring maker, Leggett & Platt, is in Atlanta. Our wood comes from Kentucky. So it's all right here on bordering the state of Tennessee. So we really are a local company.
From Lookout Mountain to Cleveland, from Red Bank to Collegedale, luxury lives here.
Chattanooga Auto Square is your home for premium luxury automobiles.
And we have the largest selection in all of Chattanooga of pre-owned vehicles from every major brand.
Chattanooga Auto Square, Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Infiniti.
Luxury lives here.
For those who deal with painful leg veins, Dr. Eston Winger wants you to know there is help.
Typically, most patients that come in have varying degrees of symptoms with their legs, and it could be that your legs feel heavy, your legs feel tired, your legs ache, your legs swell. And typically this is worsened as the day progresses as you're up on your legs. And most people think, oh, they're just for cosmetic reasons, but no, actually your legs can hurt by having varicose veins. The fact is that the veins are not going to go away on their own. The only way they're going to go away is by an intervention. And if they do bother you or you have questions about them, then I'd be more than happy to talk to you in consultation.
Schedule a consultation by phone 423-472-5423.
At some point in your life, you may be faced with a legal challenge, whether it be a personal injury,
business dispute, or family matter. Our goal is to overcome your legal obstacles and get your life back on track.
If you or a loved one have been injured or have legal issues confronting you and your family, talk with someone on our team. We will investigate your problem to determine the facts and the law. Working together, we can develop a plan to obtain the result you deserve.
My dad says our new Linux system saves energy.
Well, saving energy means saving money.
A lot of money?
Yep.
Time for a raise in my allowance.
Savings year after year.
A big raise.
Call today for perfect air you can feel in your home and savings you can feel in your wallet.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Call Dale's Heating and Air today.
California.
Welcome back to the Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour special preseason 2022 edition. I'm your self-proclaimed homo host, Michael Lawson, a.k.a. The Strong Sauce. Of course, we appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to be here till 12 o'clock. You got another 45 minutes or so before you can go back to listening to your Pop 40. What do y'all got, Ryan? What do y'all got coming on after us? Is the beautiful Bridget out there doing her thing? So it'll be Bridget doing her thing till 1 o'clock. We appreciate you guys joining us for a special edition. Of course, we do appreciate Lindy Davis, owner, founder, and publisher of the Lindy Sports Magazine, joining us for about an extended minute. He gave us 25 minutes there, which was very, very gracious of him. Thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. A lot to unpack, boys. Of course, I'm here riding with my dogs, living like hogs. Big Country Sam Bowerman, local legend. If you see him in the street, he'll probably have a smile on his face, but don't get on his bad side. It's like Bruce Banner. Don't make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. I've never seen him angry, but I don't think it would be a good thing. Tennessee Homer Joe. Now that dude you really don't want to press. Until Tennessee starts winning 10 ball games, you don't want to talk to that guy. He'll explain to you in a second. You might have heard of him. The coach, Robert Flowers, of course, joins us, and of course, we're going to be here till 12 o'clock. All right, boys, so let's unpack a little bit of what Mr. Davis said. We can start with the Tennessee stuff. We kind of led into that conversation, Sam, with the games on that schedule. We heard Lindy Davis say 8-4 is not only plausible, but it probably expected at this point. 9-3, not surprising at all. Yeah. Now, for Tennessee to go 9-3, if you're looking at that schedule, okay, early on, I've identified my games, which would be at Pitt, Florida at home, at LSU, Kentucky, and then at Carolina. Those are the 5 games for me. If you assume that Tennessee wins all those other games, right? Mm-hmm. They beat Missouri. They beat Vandy. They handled UT Martin and Akron and Ball State. Mm-hmm. And they lose to Alabama and Georgia, which I know y'all want to argue that will be competitive. I just don't see on the defensive side yet, and really on the lines of scrimmage. Sam, you're a line of scrimmage guy. Mm-hmm. I just don't see it over 4 quarters. I think y'all gave Alabama a very good game for 2.5 quarters, maybe even 3 quarters. But it's a 4-quarter game, and the dam broke, and they scored 28 points in the 4th quarter. It's just the way it is, I just don't. Recruiting's the only way, and we'll talk recruiting later on in the season. Yeah, that's the only way you are going to get better on that side in that respect.
I mean, and that's true. I mean, honestly, that happened a lot in a lot of games this past year. Is you could see where everybody was leaving in transfer portal, the holes that it left on both sides of the ball. Right. Our guys were getting tired. They were getting banged up. We didn't have the bodies to replace in. And not just, regular bodies. We needed like 4- and 5-star bodies or people who were athletically inclined. We were pretty much playing guys who we had at that point.
It's like that Florida game. What was Cade Mays' brother?
Cooper.
Okay, and he was the center, right?
Yeah.
in that, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was in that Florida game, man. He played. I could not care about that kid either way. You don't want to ever. First of all, you know this. I never want to see anybody get hurt.
Right. Yeah.
But when you see a kid give that with that much heart.
Yeah.
Who's injured?
Yeah.
But knowing that the dude behind him, if he plays, y'all are losing, so he's going to go out there and give it everything he's got. He just but when you're the dude across from you's healthy, and their 2 is not terrible, and you're broken, and you got nobody behind you. That's kind of the tale of the tape right there.
It was, and that was a physical representation of what was going on all year.
Right.
Whether it was the linebackers, the O-line, D-line, even in the secondary. I mean, that first guy goes out, and there was a huge fall off. And you hit the nail on the head. Recruiting is the only thing that can fix that.
It is.
We got to coach up the guys.
You got to get depth, man.
Yeah.
And you can't. And again, look, no offense to those kids that come out and give their heart and blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you want to play with the Alabamas and the Georgias, their 2s are going to be in the NFL.
Exactly.
They may not be there in next year, but they will be there in 3 or 4 years. That's just the way it is. You got to go get kids that are going to be NFL ready.
Yep, and that's the other thing too. They're practicing against, like you hit it, future NFL prospects.
Right.
So they're going to get better. They're going to up their level, and they're getting tips, from those guys, not only from the coaches, but from those guys as well. Because that experience in the bowl games and the SEC championship games, they're going against the best of the best. So like, hey, when you go up against a guy who's also going to be first, second, or third round draft pick, this is usually what works on this guy. You're going to have to watch his leverage, his foot, and I mean that makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Just those little tips, it goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean if you're practicing a dude who has an NFL first step,
oh man,
that's a way different thing than going against somebody who kind of double times.
Yep, and that's usually where those false starts come.
Yeah,
and you'll see that. People coming off the edge, they're like, I can't get beat. They get into their own head, and they're too early off the ball.
Right. Now, Tennessee Homer Joe, looking at this, again, when we were talking earlier, very dismissive of Kentucky, both there over on that side of the room right now. You, Sam, are more concerned about Carolina than you are, Tennessee Homer Joe. Who are your of those? Pittsburgh, Florida, LSU, Kentucky, and Carolina. The reality is, if you lose to Alabama and Georgia, and you go 4-1 in those other games, you go 9-3. I mean that's math, right?
And that would be a good season.
Yeah,
I think a lot of like you touched on earlier, a lot of Tennessee fans are jumping on the 10-2 train. A lot of Tennessee fans are jumping on that 10-2 train, and I mean we've got reason to be hopeful. I'm going to hope for 10-2, but if we lose to LSU or Florida, I'm not going to really, it's not. Florida is going to be the worst loss. If we lose to LSU, it'll be okay. Losing to Florida, Heupel's got to beat one of the big 3. Florida, Alabama, Georgia. You've got to beat one of them.
Are you putting Florida? Did you just say big 3 and put Florida in that list?
Historically, that's
rivals.
Okay.
You got for this Tennessee fan. Alabama, Florida, Georgia.
Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all made number 3 on that list. So.
What about Kentucky? Y'all, I know y'all hate Kentucky.
I don't even think about Kentucky. It's like Vanderbilt. We don't even think about them.
Georgia Tech. Georgia and Georgia Tech. Come on now.
Hey, they're top 3 for me. I don't know about you. I wouldn't stop a Georgia Tech fan and help him change his tire.
There you go.
I just wouldn't.
That's because the only time you see them is hanging out in the wrong places in the ATL.
So, my bad.
Go ahead.
I was just going to talk about the disdain that I have for Kentucky. I've actually shared some photos with you about them in various sports.
Yeah.
And even what Kentucky, fans put on Tennessee Post and stuff, and then Tennessee comes back with, facts, and then they don't say too much stuff. We always used to joke about, how somebody they finally won 10 games. Their chest is out. They're up there. They're like, hey, we're going to do better. We got our quarterback back. We got our running back, SEC leading rusher back. We're going to, in their minds, they're going to win the SEC East. They just came off a 10-win season. They won't say it.
Oh no, they say it. But I don't. That's like my little niece. talking about how she's going to school me.
Okay, so now you see how I feel about Kentucky.
Yeah, is that the same?
I'll worry about Kentucky whenever basketball season comes around.
All right,
and we still beat them then.
Okay.
Rick
We're not talking about basketball or baseball. This is the 2022 preseason Aubrey Strong Sauce football hour.
And we beat them with their best team.
All right, so okay, let's leave. I think Kentucky's a part of that, but let's chalk that up for a win for you guys. So at that point, you got Pitt, Florida, LSU, and Carolina.
So
those 4 games.
The LSU game. The good thing for us about that LSU game, if you look at the schedule, we have a bye the week before LSU. LSU has to go to Auburn and play Auburn. And Auburn, I'm not thinking, but their defense is still going to be pretty good. They're still going to be a physical football team.
Yeah, and that LSU-Auburn game, especially on the Plains, is always a hard-hitting football.
And that is going to be very
even when the teams
physical.
are not good. Go back to the 90s when you had Jerry DiNardo and one of the Bowdens or whoever it was at Auburn. They were cracking pads back then.
But
those teams
how beat up is that LSU team going to be whenever we go to Death Valley?
Yeah,
does that matter, though, at 8 o'clock at night when all those drunk Bayou people are out there?
That's not going to be an 8 o'clock at night game.
It'll be a night game.
No, that's going to be a 3:30 game.
No way.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to go into that game 4-0.
You're crazy, dude.
But you're going to have the Bama game that week, and I forget who Bama plays, but I think it's Bama A&M maybe that week. So you have Bama A&M will be the 8 o'clock.
Yes.
See, here's the thing that
you put Alabama on prime time, you put Tennessee at 3:30. Tennessee's up and coming. We're not ready for prime time.
Dude, LSU's going to lobby to have that as a night game. The LSU guys are already telling you that's the 7:45 ESPN game right there all night long. They're going to be lathered up in whatever distilled white liquor they're drinking down there in the swamp, eating like gator tail and smoking cane. Doing whatever those crazy Bayou people do down there. All kinds of voodoo and all kinds of stuff. They want all day, and ESPN wants that too. What they want it at 8 o'clock at night, and the reason for that is what else are you going to watch? Wyoming and Arizona State? I don't think so.
Here's the thing with that. LSU is going to have the same problem that Tennessee has with the transfers that they have had, and that's going to be a depth issue. Now, you have a new head coach coming in, Brian Kelly. Yes, everybody knows how that goes. You have to implement your system. It's not going to be implemented yet. I mean, your quarterback, yes, you brought in, a stud at quarterback. If he goes into an SEC game not mentally ready for that, how's that going to play into?
You talking about Jaden Davis?
Yeah.
That quarterback they brought in from Arizona State.
So,
They've also got that Nussmeier kid, who Garrett Nussmeier, I believe is his name, who's the kid of that offensive coordinator. They've got dudes. It's just a matter of which one. I'm not high on Brian Kelly, but he does know how to coach football, and he's going to figure out which one of those quarterbacks.
But here's the thing: we've seen new blood come into the SEC in the SEC game, and they get hit in the mouth, and they don't know how to react.
Right.
Look, Mike Tyson
it just
said
changes
it best.
Everything.
Yeah. You got to plan until somebody.
Everybody got to plan until somebody punches you in the mouth.
And that's the thing that they're going to have to worry about. And LSU at night historically is a great football team. Not taking anything from them. Actually, I like LSU because, they have the same, song whenever they score touchdowns as Cleveland does over there. But at the same time...
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I just don't think that in their first year that they will be ready to take on the high-powered offense that, Tennessee's going to put on the field down there. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see
what happens.
In my mind, though, I think that game's going to look a lot like the Ole Miss game, where their defense is going to be better than what Ole Miss was last year, right? You guys are going to try that high-tempo stuff. You're going to do it at LSU. They're not going to be throwing stuff on the field. You are going to get very frustrated in that game, I believe. Now, but to that point, though, you just brought up an interesting point. We're talking about it off air. So you got Florida and LSU, two of the biggest games on Tennessee's schedule. Both of them are bringing in brand new coaches. You got Billy Napier at Florida.
Right.
You've got Brian Kelly at LSU.
Yep.
Tennessee Vol Nation, I know they would rather beat Florida than beat LSU if you had to choose those. But which of those schools scares you the most? Is it Florida, who you've only beaten once since Jesus, ascended to heaven, or is it LSU where since Moses was on the earth that people go down to LSU? Really, only Nick Saban can go there at night and beat them, regardless of what their schools, their teams like. Which one of those worries you? It's only June, so we've not gone through fall practice. There's a lot of stuff to be hammered out and hashed out. But which game worries you the most?
LSU.
I'll say Florida.
I'm going to go with LSU for one. I mean, and this is going to be something you're not going to hear anybody else say. To me, Brian Kelly's still kind of in that prove it. He's never been in a real conference. Notre Dame's an independent. Never been in a real conference. And this is going to be his first time in a real big boy conference. How can your coaching go? You're not playing Minnesota. You're not playing Navy. You're not playing all those teams. A down USC. A down Stanford. You're playing Alabama. You're playing Texas A&M. You're playing Tennessee. You're playing Ole Miss. You're playing teams that will hit you in the mouth. How does Brian Kelly react to that on the sidelines? I don't think that's something anybody's been talking about. He's never been in a real conference coaching before.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Week in and week out, where the wear and tear of the SEC in the trenches is different. I think that's a little too, again, like Kentucky, I think it's a little too dismissive of what he's done before, in the sense that, look, some of those Michigan teams they played were pretty good. Some of those Ohio State teams they played were pretty good.
Yeah, but you're talking, what, 2-3 games a year that you got to play?
No, that's what I mean by week in and week out. Instead of having 4 games a year, even Mississippi State's going to hit you in the mouth, and you got to play. It's there's no weeks off. When you got Arkansas on the schedule, it used to be a chalked up W. Not so much anymore. If Pittman brings his boys in, you're going to need some ice after that game, because they're going to hit you in the face. All right, so I find it interesting because I find it very interesting that the Tennessee folks over here, one is more worried about Kentucky than Carolina. The other one's more worried about LSU than Florida. Yeah. From your perspective, of those 5 games, can Tennessee go 4-1 in those games and get to that 9-3 mark? Because if they do, then you're going to get some really, really, really heavy hype coming out of Knoxville going into next season. You might even see an uptick in recruiting if some of these upper echelon and upper tier recruits actually believe that Tennessee is going to be able to do something. Once that hype train rolls out of Knoxville and they get it going, it's a force to be reckoned with. Sure. Everybody knows that. But they got to do something to really get it going. 8-4 is nice, but I don't know how many and the NIL changes things. Everybody gets that. But can they go 4-1 in those games? 3-2 again. 8-4 is not a bad schedule, and it's not a bad record. I think, folks, that's what kills me. Tennessee Homer Joe. If people are talking 10-2. They go 8-4 and they get disappointed when it's actually a better season than what they've had in the last 5 years, and they're trending in the right direction. It's crazy.
Let's get it right. I believe we're going to go 10-2. I'm very hopeful in the 10-2.
Okay.
But in those 2 losses, I'm not going to be all happy, smiling, rainbows, and all that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad we lost the game still, even though I'm it's expected.
You think Tennessee's going 10-2?
Yeah.
I think
Coach, go.
I think when we have this, closer to real football type show at some point, we'll be looking at the same conversation. Tennessee will be 4-0. They will have beaten Florida, and we will already begin hearing about how we're coming for you, Bulldogs, and it's already going to start. Now, whether or not it's 5-0 or 4-1, I think determines the outcome of that 9-3 to 10-2 type season. But yes, they should be expectant this year. Florida is trash. Sorry, Gator fans. Sorry, not sorry. But they're trash, right? The reality is Pittsburgh
they trash even when they win, whatever.
No doubt. Pitt was a senior-laden team last year.
Yeah.
No offense to my beloved Tennessee Vols that are actually sitting here. Much offense to all you Vol Nation. But the reality is, last year I gave everyone a heads up and said this is not going to be easy. In fact, Pitt's probably going to win. Well, they lost all them dudes. I don't care how good the quarterback is they got coming back and all these things. They were very senior-heavy last year. This is going to be a different Tennessee team. I think they're going to score enough points to give a lot of teams a lot of trouble. But it is a 4-quarter football game. That's the difference between 9-10 wins.
So do they go 4-1 or 3-2 in that stretch?
I think they're 4-1.
So you got to beat in Florida.
Legit, I have them 4-0, and then
losing to LSU,
and then losing to LSU.
On the road to LSU, you got to you're going to have to catch some breaks. We'll see what it is.
Oh my God!
Like I said,
oh my God! If Tennessee is 4-0 and they have just beaten Florida, and they go to LSU, and LSU starts cramping. to stop their offense.
Oh, yeah.
They are going to lose their minds.
Oh man, I tell you what though, like the NCAA does need to look into something to do. Like I get
that's a whole different conversation.
No, I get.
Hold on a second. That's a whole different conversation, and we got to go to break. Thank you, Ryan. You're listening to the Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour, especially preseason 2022. Don't even get started about that. Don't start talking about changing the rules. Tennessee Homer Joe 10-2. Tennessee Homer Joe's wanting to change the rules. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We got to go do the thing, the pace of this thing. We'll be back in a couple of clicks.
Big changes are happening. On July 31st, Ocoee OBGYN will be closing their doors after so many years of dedicated service to Cleveland and Bradley County. Dr. Ashcraft and Jeannie Lips will be going to Life Circle to further their careers and continue to meet the needs of their patients. Dr. Snowman and her whole staff would like to thank Cleveland and Bradley County.
Need a metal roof for your home or business? Come see us at Best Buy Metals, a leading manufacturer of metal roofing products. Looking for great service? Check. Want to choose from a wide variety of metal roofing products? Check. How about complimentary takeoffs and free estimates for commercial and residential projects? Check and check. From small orders to semi-loads, we've got you covered. Literally. Best Buy Metals. Quality roofing that lasts a lifetime. Come see us today.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Doug Vierthaler, General Manager of Cleveland Ford. And together,
we are Cleveland Ford.
Serenity Funeral Homes. Convenient, caring, affordable. Cleveland's most affordable funeral home. Completely remodeled. Offering cremations as low as $5.95. Funerals, $15.95. SerenityofCleveland.com. When trust matters most.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of the relationship that I've developed with my care team.
They take me directly back and start evaluating my needs.
I choose Direct Primary Care Associates because of its flexibility, and so should you.
DPCA. Practice made perfect.
It's time for Bradley County to start talking about fentanyl. Did you know in 2021 there were over 20 overdose deaths related to fentanyl in our town? ATS The Bridge is committed to educating and spreading awareness about drug abuse and bring a message of hope to our community. Our community is worth it. Even if substance abuse is the last thing to worry about with your kid, their awareness can help save a friend. For more info, visit atsthebridge.org. ATS The Bridge. Speaking out against drugs, speaking up with a message of hope. Visit atsthebridge.org.
Being around people is my joy and my passion. So when they come in here, I do feel free to carry the integrity that Mermaid has. No matter what your job description is here, somehow or another you're impacting somebody's life.
Bender Realty is proud to have 3 agents who've been in real estate for over 40 years. The experts at Bender Realty don't just live here, they volunteer and contribute to the community in our area.
Our involvement in the community of who being able to reach out to, whether it's city planner, county planner, economic development committee, to help you bring new businesses into the Cleveland area. We're all involved and we're able to keep up with what's going on and what's coming into Cleveland.
If you're looking to buy, sell, lease, or rent, trust your friends at Bender Realty. 472-2173. Bender-Realty.com. Be home with Bender Realty. Wholesale Supply Group, you've heard the name for years. The experts trust them, and you should too. Whether you're building, remodeling, or just maintaining your home, Wholesale Supply Group has all the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC products you need to supply any project. With great brands like Delta, Kohler, Rinnai, Mansfield, Progress Lighting, Square D, GE, and Milwaukee, Wholesale Supply has everything you need. Check out the locations in Cleveland, Chattanooga, Athens, Dayton, Madisonville, Dalton, and Chatsworth. Online, wholesalesupply.us. And remember, Wholesale Supply is open to the public.
Cleveland Tire is ready to help your auto any way it can. We're one of the largest providers of Goodyear brand tires in the area. We sell all major brand tires. We have ASE certified mechanics on staff 6 days a week. We also have a commercial truck tire center that provides 24-hour roadside service and minor mechanical repairs on site. We have built our reputation on years of quality, affordable work and tires. We pride ourselves in customer satisfaction and great service. Cleveland Tire Center.
This is John Davis, the trade-in man for Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway, with great news. Interest rates are super low, and your old car is worth more than ever. So if you're wondering if you should be buying a new Kia, it's a no-brainer. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. If you've got $500 down and you make $2,000 a month, I'll do my best to get you approved. Come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where car buying is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Baskin-Robbins on Keith Street, locally owned by the Benton family in Cleveland for over 50 years. Within their 40 flavors of ice cream, they can build sundaes, make 40 different types of shakes, and add different ice creams to different products. You name it, they can make it for you. Enjoy Baskin-Robbins at home. Their take-home items include hand-packed quarts or pints, polar pizzas, and cakes. Baskin-Robbins, Keith Street, Cleveland.
Big changes are happening. On July 31st, Ocoee OBGYN will be closing their doors after so many years of dedicated service to Cleveland and Bradley County. Dr. Ashcraft and Jeannie Lips will be going to Life Circle to further their careers and continue to meet the needs of their patients. Dr. Snowman and her whole staff would like to thank Cleveland and Bradley County.
Peyton Southeastern is hiring. If you are looking for a stable, long-term career, they have an immediate opportunity for full-time employment with advancement opportunities available. Potential to earn over $20 an hour. Apply now at jobs.kroger.com to work at Peyton Southeastern in Cleveland. That's jobs.kroger.com.
I am Cleveland Ford. I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Cleveland.
I am Cleveland Ford.
I am Doug Beerthal, General Manager of Cleveland Ford. And together,
we are Cleveland Ford.
What's your definition of fresh? At Food City, ours starts every morning as our certified butchers hand-cut everything you see behind the counter fresh that day. Fresh also means our beef is ground in the store several times a day, time-stamped with the hour it was ground. That's a fresh guarantee. The fact is, it just doesn't get any fresher than this. That's why we say, start fresh with Food City.
Mix 1041 and Honda of Cleveland are giving away a Honda Civic LX to an active law enforcement officer in our area. If you know someone that you think deserves to win, you can nominate them at mymix1041.com/Honda or on the Mix 1041 app.
Come on out and see us, Mix 1041 WCLE.
Something in my head, I couldn't escape the memory of a phone call and what you said. Like a game show contestant with a parting gift, I cannot believe my eyes.
Welcome back to God Almighty. Turn that music off.
I could have played you in for there.
Welcome back to the special preseason Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour. Of course, I'm your self-proclaimed humble host, Michael Lawson, a.k.a. the Strong Sauce. I apologize, boys and girls, for that. Blues Travel is okay. You know, all of you river rats up there, you know, playing your harmonicas and doing your thing up there in the Ocoee. God bless y'all, too. Trick love the kids, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be here with you till 12 o'clock. Well, again, we appreciate Lindy Davis of Lindy Sports Magazine joining us, the owner, founder, and publisher of the Magna Carta of all preseason magazines. And that really was the foundation. Of course, I'm here live in the studio off of Mouse Creek in the house that Heartline built across from Duracell. Of course, riding with the Hogs, living like dogs, the reigning national champion dogs.
Yes, sir. Go Dogs.
Big Country Sam Bowerman, old 10-2 Tennessee Homer Joe over here. And then, of course, the coach, Robert Flowers. We're here with you till the top of the hour, and then after that, the lovely Bridget will be sticking with you till 1 o'clock. She's out there and about making that money. Go see her and check her out. Where's she at today, Ryan? Oh, come on, Lord.
Toyota.
She's at Toyota. All right. Well, go see. I'm sure Steve's gonna love that one right there. All right, so we're here till 12 o'clock. We going back to let's kind of wrap. Let's put a bow on this, as they say, and go to, if you're looking at your Magna Carta, page 76. It's picking the SEC. And we go through their conference picks here in Lindy Sports Magazine. In the SEC East, you've got Georgia, number 1. Kentucky, number 2, there, big country. They got Kentucky at number 2. The good news for them, QB Will Levis put up good numbers. Running back Chris Rodriguez is SEC's top returning rusher. The bad news, Kentucky lost 3 starters each on offense and defensive lines and their top wide receiver. Their call, Kentucky will come close, will have a hard time matching 10-win season. And that's kind of where I'm at with them. This is where I want to get with this. In the SEC East, okay, you can call me a homer if you want to, but I just don't see Georgia losing a game in our division again. They're going to go 7-0. Even if Stetson Bennett were to get hurt, the guys that are coming in behind him, while they're less experienced, they're actually way more talented, and they've been in the system for a couple of years now. Georgia is set up to where if someone's going to beat them and win the division over the next couple of years, it's not going to be because Georgia lost it like Mark Richt teams. Someone's going to have to get better, whether it's through recruiting and development, and come beat them. You're actually going to have to be that kind of team. They're not going to just fumble it and give it to somebody. Interested to see Kentucky at number 2, Tennessee number 3, above Florida, those hated Florida Gators at number 4, Carolina at 5, Missouri and Vanderbilt bringing up the lemon booty down there at the bottom of the division. Missouri's got an interesting component on offense. That Luther Burden kid that they just recruited, a 5-star wide receiver from last year, I think he's going to set the league up and light them up. I think they got a quarterback who can sling it. The problem is their defense is just about as bad as Vanderbilt's. The 3 guys they had on defense that were any count last year wound up transferring out. I just don't see them being any good. What are your thoughts on the SEC East this year? Is there anything you would change? Now, 10-2, Tennessee Homer Joe over here. If Tennessee actually winds up going 10-2, then of course presumptively they would be number 2 on that list. I think if a team gets to 10-2 this year, I think that would be good enough for number 2. I personally, and I was thinking about this on the way over here, y'all weigh in. The way I see this going, if Georgia can I'm with Lindy Davis. If Georgia can win that first game against Oregon, I don't see them losing another game. Not necessarily just because Florida's down. Tennessee has issues on defense, and that's late in the season where depth is an issue. I just don't see them losing a game in the division.
On that Oregon thing, in your opinion, is Oregon really that big of a worry? They had a big drop-off. But, they beat Ohio State, but after that, they just kind of fell apart.
Dan Lanning is a very good coach. Their roster is absolutely loaded. I think they're going to have an issue in the second half, but I think at halftime it could very well be close.
Does it hurt Dan Lanning, Georgia's defensive coordinator, goes to Oregon? He knows how to slow you down. Is that going to?
I know how to slow Sam down, but that doesn't mean I can do it.
You don't think that's going to play a factor at all?
There's a way. I know how to slow you down. Doesn't mean I can do it.
So
Dan Lanning knows how to do it. Yes.
You're saying Oregon don't have the horses?
Their 2s are not as good as our 2s, and we rotate. I've got an article coming out at Fansided this week about that very thing. Depth is something that people don't talk about enough. Everybody can put 1s out there. And a lot of like Tennessee's going to have 2 or 3 dudes on their 1s this year that will play in the NFL. They'll get NFL contracts, but that you can't play 16 minutes in the SEC. It's physically impossible. Mm-hmm. That's why a Champ Bailey only comes around, once every 2 generations, but playing 108 plays in a game in an SEC game.
I think Jeremy Banks will be that guy as long as he can keep from getting kicked out of that game with the boneheaded 15-yard penalties.
He's been getting better.
He's getting better. But
but in my mind, I've got Georgia. If they can beat Oregon, I think they go 12-0. I'm loath to say that just because 12-0 is so difficult to do, but I think the division's still in the process of rearranging.
What was it, Mr. Lindy said? 15 draft picks?
Yeah.
15 people drafted, and you think there's going to be? You think y'all are already at the plug and play that Nick Saban's been at Alabama?
And I think this is the year that folks will realize that. Yes.
It surprises me. I'm sorry, Big Sam. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
It surprises me that that's still a question. Like, I got to be honest with you, 10-2 Homer Joe. Like that's still the fact that that's legit still a question at this point. Now, I don't mean repeat national champions. But if we get past Oregon, it should be another 12-0 season.
I don't think this
simply because like our 3s and 4s are Alabama's 3s and 4s.
Yeah,
we're trading 5 stars at this point. Like, I'm just being honest. About it.
And to kind of hit on that, to me, one of the best defensive end, outside linebacker / whatever you want, is Will Anderson. He's a beast. Well, one guy who they didn't really talk about, who I've seen just take over games for Georgia, was Nolan Smith last year. And I mean, that guy, he is an absolute monster. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And I think with him on the field, you always have to worry about that guy who can chase you, down from the backside, who's going to blow up plays on the front side. And yes, you're going to see people false start because he's actually that quick and that strong to throw your best tackle who's going to be on them. They have the guys. It's just their names aren't out there yet, unfortunately. Right. But yeah, they do reload, and I hate to say that.
And here's the truth. Sam knows this. You played on the line. You played at a very high level. The reality is the guys, and this is something people just to Cuz's point. The fact that question's still out there, Joe, is that these guys that are coming behind the Jordan Davis was a 3-star coming out of high school, and they developed him. Devontae Wyatt was a 3-star coming out of high school, and they developed him. These guys that are playing behind him were all high 4 and 5 stars. They're just young. People don't know their names because they were behind these guys. But here's the deal, and I'm going to foreshadow my article. Zion Logue, a Tennessee kid. Warren Brinson, high 4-star that came out. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. These are all names. Nazir Stackhouse, a borderline 5-star that came out of Atlanta. No one knows their names because they were playing behind these guys. Every single one of those dudes is about 6'4", 320 pounds. High 4 or 5-star coming out of high school. But more importantly, last year, Jordan Davis only played 38% of the snaps. Do you know who played behind him and played the rest of those snaps? Those dudes I just named. They were a part of that defense that was historic. They weren't the reason why they were so good.
Defense.
But they were one of the reasons. You just don't know their names because Jordan Davis was the one up there doing the orchestra. He was the face. So I do think Georgia's there. I think they're 12-0 this year, 11-1, but he's still 11-1 wins the division.
One quick question on Georgia before you move on.
Because real quick, we've only got a few more minutes. Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, I think there's going to be, for the first time, instead of a 10-2 team, I think we could see multiple 9-3 teams there. I know that probably is going to hurt your feelings, 10-2 Homer Joe. But 9-3, could you see a Kentucky 9-3 and a Tennessee 9-3?
I could
see that.
I mean, I can see it. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic for 10-2. I'm not, I'm not set in stone on that. It's a cautiously optimistic 10-2.
Now, what that means, though, is that Florida, ostensibly, is not 9-3 or 10-2 because there's only one way for both of those other teams to get there. That means, which would put them at 8-4, and probably Billy Napier on the hottest first-year seat we've ever seen. Do you envision a scenario where Tennessee and Florida are the 9-3, and then Kentucky's the 8-4? Is Kentucky going to fall off that much?
No, I don't think Florida win that many games this year.
You think Florida's 8-4?
I think Florida's 6-6, 7-5.
Oh,
8-4, 7-5. Yeah.
8-4, 7-5.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to get into that. I mean, you've got a whole different offense than what Mullen was running.
Are you buying what they're selling, Cuz?
A little bit, because I said it last year that Florida, I didn't think Florida would be very good, and they ended up being slightly better than I expected. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this notion that they're still loaded with talent, they're still loaded with speed.
One of your sons...
They're soft on both lines, man, and that's a serious problem they got.
One of your son's team that almost upset them down there in
Gainesville? As a matter of fact, my Sanford Bulldogs.
Yeah, shout out to Deuce Flowers, a Cleveland High legend, holding it down there. Of course, my cuz, your son, my other cuz. Holding it down there for the Sanford Bulldogs. His Sanford Bulldogs will be playing between the hedges this year against our Bulldogs. Our family very excited about that.
See, and the other thing, to add on to what Coach was saying there, I mean, you look at how they imploded last year, and that, and that's going to take a lot of rebuilding inside of the locker rooms for them to trust in each coach and to each other. That's going to take a lot of rebuilding, and you're going to see that on the field. I mean, it happened in Tennessee. We've seen that on the field when they imploded, how long it took them to believe in each other, to trust in the coaches again. It's going to take a while for Florida to do the same thing. That's why I don't think that they're going to win, 8 games, 7 games maybe.
That confidence is way down.
I don't even think Florida gets to 8.
I don't.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a while.
I think Florida's going to.
That's what happens.
They're going to get punched. They're going to come out like Tennessee, and they're going to play a cupcake game here and there, and they're going to look good.
Utah's the number 7 ranked team in the nation according to the Magna Carta.
That's
Lindy Sports Magazine. They open with Utah.
That is the worst thing. Florida should have bought out of that game, or at least tried to. Because that is the worst thing for a team that just got decimated at the end of the year last year.
Okay, hold on a second. If Florida beats Utah and then win that ball game, does that change your mind about what their prognostication is?
That changes everything about Florida because that's that confidence builder. That's whenever you get that mental side of it.
Plus, it means they're pretty good.
8 and 9. I mean, it's legit the difference between 8 and 9. And for a first-year guy like Napier, that's a significant difference for an insane thing.
Your first game is a signature win.
Yes.
It is, but how high would the drop-off be going from Utah to your next game, after that? I mean, did you...
They got Kentucky, in their first 3 games. They got Utah, some fofo, and then Kentucky.
So did you use up all your magic then?
And look at...
Against Utah?
Take last season. They played Alabama up until, what was it, a 2-point game in the fourth quarter?
They did
and then they, beat Tennessee. And then after that, they just... I mean, I don't know what happened to them. They just fell off
the Georgia Bulldogs happened to them, son.
Georgia Bulldogs.
That red team down there?
We went down there in prison. Went down there in prison, beat them in the first half, and it was over. They quit. Then they went to Carolina. All right. So SEC. So my biggest takeaway there is that you guys are expecting 9-3 Kentucky, 9-3 Tennessee, because if Florida's down there below 8 wins, that certainly gives plenty of room for a 9-3 Kentucky, 9-3 Tennessee.
I almost
in terms
think
of records.
You could have a South Carolina team that moves up into that 4th spot.
Yeah.
Carolina could be 8-4.
I can see that.
I can see Carolina. Like we were talking about before. I'm not sold on Beamer in South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina's got the history, the tradition, the facilities. But Beamer will be a decent coach. I don't think that he's going to be that at South Carolina.
That legit just
well, that did just happen.
I've seen that.
Shout out to my pops if he's listening. He's laughing in his chair right now. That's interesting. But you're saying that long term, though. That doesn't have anything to do with this
Not
season.
this season, no. Long term. I think South Carolina's going to, they're going to probably finish above Florida. So I think you can look at this: Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida. And then Missouri, Vanderbilt, they're either or.
Interchangeable.
I don't think Missouri ain't got a running back. They lost Tyler Beatty to the draft. Did they have anybody behind him? Their whole offense was Tyler Beatty last year. So what are they going to do with the running back? You can have all the receivers in the world. If teams are just dropping 7 in coverage every time, it's going to be hard to complete one of those passes.
Well, okay, so we slide over to the SEC West. Alabama is a consensus. I find it very interesting that you've got in the top 10 here in Lindy Sports Magazine, A&M's 5.
Yeah.
They've got them number 2. So you've got number 1 in the nation and number 1 in the division, number 5 in the nation, number 2 in the division, and then number 11, Arkansas, coming in at number 3 in the division. I don't know, since Darren McFadden was running between the lines, have we seen an Arkansas team expected to be this good?
Yeah.
And consensus-wise,
yeah.
You got Ole Miss, then you got at number 4 that group right there, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and LSU. Because I still think, I know you are dispositive and dismissive of Brian Kelly. The one thing is, though, when you've played it, he has played in big games. The 1-1 that he had with Kirby Smart up there at Notre Dame and there. Now they lost both of them, holla. But there are big games. There were national ABC.
Has he played in a big game that he ain't lost by 30-plus points?
He loses most of the big games, yes.
By 30-plus points.
But I still think, but even Mississippi and State and Auburn, I just, if you look at the top 4 of the SEC West, man, that's a really good division again, the SEC West. You're talking about 3 teams right there that could. I mean, there easily could be 6 bowl teams coming out of the SEC West next year, and that's stout.
I'm looking. I'll tell you, the game I'm looking forward to most in the SEC this year that doesn't involve Tennessee is going to be that Alabama A&M game. I want to see if Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban meet at midfield and start throwing blows.
Are y'all? Okay, well, it's
I'll say with the rankings. I think that's a perfect representation of how the West is going to go this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you think they nailed it?
Yeah, because the way that A&M is recruited.
Yeah.
Definitely, they're number 2 because Alabama's number 1. I mean,
A&M's a year out.
They pretty much brought back almost everybody. I mean, Alabama's always dangerous.
A&M's
Arkansas,
a year out
the
from
way
being
that they've
Alabama.
been doing, their offense, they bought into it. I mean, we were talking about the physicality, how Coach Pittman has changed that program and brought them around.
And they brought that Jaden Hazelwood kid in from Oklahoma, the 5-star wide receiver. Yep. They brought in that linebacker from Alabama that transferred in. If you look at some of those plays, I don't think, again, that KJ Jefferson kid that got at quarterback.
Is he going to take a step forward? Because he kind of, in the big games, he took bad.
Right, exactly.
But it's a physical football team, man.
It is. Yeah. And then you go to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the offense. They really don't have the defense. Honestly, they're kind of hit or miss at times.
But dude, now you and I were talking about this a couple of years ago after it was one of our shows at Aubrey. Shout out to Aubrey's. We're there every Saturday during college football season, boys and girls, as a part of your beloved Tennessee Vols official game day coverage. Jerry and Ely was a dude, okay?
Yeah.
They lose that guy, and then they go and get this kid. He's a head case coming out of high school, Zach Evans. People will remember him. He's the number 1 recruit, committed to Georgia for a while. Tennessee had him. After they kicked the tires on that kid a couple of times, but then some stuff went sideways. And then he wound up going to TCU. He's now transferred at Ole Miss. Dude, they've got a quarterback. They've got that Jackson Dart kid who's come in. The running back's going to be nasty. Lane Kiffin's going to have that offense humming. They're going to put points on you. The question is, a lot like that Tennessee team, can that defense withstand the second quarter or second half?
Think, Mr. Lindy put that well whenever you had him on the phone earlier. That Ole Miss defense actually, year 1 to year 2 under Kiffin
got better.
There was a huge improvement in that defense.
I don't know.
Is there
faking injuries
for Ole Miss? There was but what's going to happen?
Lots of cramps there, Tennessee Joe.
What's going to happen year 2 to year 3 with that defense? Are they going to show the same improvement, or are they going to stagnate?
And that's going to be dangerous with these teams getting better in the SEC West, plugging and playing. I mean, I believe, was it Alabama that got Georgia Tech's running back?
Jameer Gibbs. He's from Dalton. He's a Dalton kid.
The rich keep getting richer.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
And he's legit. That kid is legit.
Yes, he is.
But again, if you've only got 1 running back going through the SEC, now I understand they've got the quarterback, and I understand they got a couple of really good wide receivers. They got that kid from Louisville. They got our guy Jermaine Burton off our team last year. They've got dudes. I mean, Alabama's sick. I don't think people. I think people are wanting to pull a what's his name? What was that coach's name? Just crown him. That kind of thing. I can't remember his name. It was after the Cardinals game.
Just go and
if you just want to crown him, crown there. Say the word. Everybody's wanting to do that with Alabama because they got angry last year. They're like Bruce Banner. You won't like them when they're angry. They brought in with whatever deficiencies they had. The transfer portal was very good to them, and basically they cherry picked the best players off of like 5 teams and brought them in. They're going to be really, really good. I don't think they're unbeatable though. As the season plays out, there are only about 4 or 5 teams that have a chance. It's an uphill battle, but I think they're not. I don't think they're unbeatable.
This coming from last year's champs, you feel that extra bit of confidence after winning the trophy that you can beat them again?
No, but I've seen it. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And when you look at that team, for instance, Jermaine Burton for Georgia, this is his contract year. Dude, fantastic. He's a first or second round talent. No doubt about it. But his first 2 years at Georgia, he missed 5 and 6 games a year because he has a hip thing, he's got a shoulder thing. Is he going to be able to get away with that at Alabama? Nick Saban doesn't like that very much. That Louisville kid, same thing. He only played like 6 or 7 games last year because he got dinged up a little bit. You start having that kind of stuff happen at Alabama, they don't do well with those kinds of. You see what I'm saying? Jameer Gibbs, does he fit into a role where he's the secondary guy? I don't know that.
I think he will because again,
he's a dude.
2s and 3s. Then you got Ty Simpson at quarterback just in case Bryce Young goes down. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Oh, dude, they're loaded.
But
yes,
with that,
but they're not the 2019 LSU team.
No.
2019 LSU is the only team I've ever looked at and said there's nobody.
There's nobody.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that offense was just outwear otherworldly.
All right, so we got one more minute before we got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. Big Country Sam Bowerman, final record you're predicting for your Tennessee Vols?
I'll go 9-3.
9-3. 10-2. Tennessee Homer Joe. What are you gonna say?
Man, I ain't backing off that 10-2. I put it out there in the universe. I ain't going negative.
It's gonna be 11-1 by the time we get to football season.
Hey man, give me
Coach,
time.
What you got on their Tennessee Vols and your beloved Georgia Bulldogs?
I think the Vols are 9-3 this year, and it's a legit 9-3. And obviously that worries me. I think our beloved Georgia Bulldogs are 11-0. 11-1, 12-0, depending on Oregon. But back in Atlanta, and then we'll see. We'll roll the dice.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm more convinced now. Coming into the show, I was leaning. If I was 8-4, but leaning towards the 7-5 if I was going to skew. After listening to all this, especially the Florida talk, because if they're as bad as everybody thinks they're going to be, I was thinking 9-3 for Florida. But if they're as bad as everybody thinks they are, 9-3 for Tennessee is right up there. So, and if Tennessee goes 9-3, I'm going to tell you, get ready, Aubreys, because we're coming this fall, baby. Dude, Tennessee starts going 9-3, and you're going to start seeing flags everywhere.
That's right.
People, you won't be able to talk about anything other than that. We won't have to hear about Tony Vitello anymore. You've been listening to the special preseason Aubrey Strong Sauce SEC Football Hour 2022 edition. We appreciate Lindy Davis from Lindy Sports Magazine joining us to drop knowledge on his magazine. For Big Country Sam Bowerman, 10-2 Tennessee Homer Joe, my cuz, the illustrious coach, and shout out to your son Deuce, man. Shout out to the cuz down there doing his thing. Shout out to his sister too, another Cleveland High. Shout out to all the Flowers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Go pick one.
That's right.
Coach Flowers. I'm your self-proclaimed humble host, Michael Lawson, aka the Strong Sauce. Thank you, Ryan Lovelace, for your deal, and for Bridget and her help with the technology. We will see y'all until next time. Next time we see y'all, we will be live at Aubrey's. For your beloved Tennessee Vols and their football season. Until then, boys and girls, get out there and love each other. We're all in this together. It's one love. Remember that. We need it. You need it. Everybody needs it. Until then, the Strong Sauce is out.
Broadcast.